people are here, then some of them would come to say hi.
And we are live at MegaCon 2023 on the creator stage. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. And I'm excited because this is Q&A live, both on the internet and live in person. I have no idea what's about to happen, what's going to be said, but it is going to be exciting. So joining me today, right down here, we've got
Chris Parker
from what channel?
Tracy Films.
We got
Cody Leach. That's also the name of my channel.
Oh, that's convenient. My name is Sean Chandler. My YouTube channel is Sean Chandler Talks About.
Austin Burke. Austin Burke.
And right down here,
John Flickinger, the Flick Pick.
Yeah.
is that your real name?
Yeah, it's kind of like The Rock, but the Flick Pick. It's a little bit pretentious, but sounds really cool. Yeah.
It's like you are destined to do what you do for a living.
I
That
think they
is
planned it out before my conception, or
incredible.
at least I hope they did. Yeah.
So today, we're answering your questions wherever they lead us. That's where we are going. Let's kick things off with this gentleman right back here. Hello, what's your name?
Hello. Okay, there we go. Blake. So me and my brother, this is more of a content creating question. So me and my brother, we have a movie channel as well. Over the last year, we've been able to gain a following of almost 300,000 on TikTok. Would like
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
I've got 5,000. I can't figure out this TikTok short form stuff.
So I'm trying to figure out the YouTube. So that's where my question comes in. So obviously, you know, you guys do this full time, and my question really is, like, at what point, like, are you guys busy at this point where, you know, you have someone help you edit, or is there any tips on like making the transition easier for putting more time in with YouTube, whether it's like editing softwares or, you know, animation transitions that you can purchase with that? Because I mean, Chris, Sean, I watch you guys a lot, and Sean, you have that great, you know, animation introduction as well with how you do. So is there anything YouTube's sake that has really, you know, kind of saved you time for editing, or you know, just tips for making your YouTube videos pristine?
The big thing was creating templates for everything.
Okay.
I have templates for how I write my notes.
Yeah.
I have templates for how I process a movie after I see it. I have a template in Adobe Premiere for every type of video that I do.
Mhm.
I have formats for how I do my recording. So everything becomes streamlined of how can I make it as easy as possible to create this so I only have to do the work once.
Mhm.
So even all the B-roll of movie trailers and stuff, I've got all that stuff saved. So I'm still copying and pasting from rankings I did 4 years ago and pull from this so I don't have to re-download those clips, and just make everything as streamlined and organized as possible. Don't reinvent the wheel every time. Like I created these Photoshop files back in 2017 for the movie posters. Literally 6 years ago, and I'm still using the same Photoshop ones. And as the rankings get longer, and it's now up to 75, my format for my rankings, it's 75. Every time I open it, it's the 75 from when I did the Disney movies or whatever. And I have to delete most of those, but it's just right there.
Yeah.
So, did you have any thoughts on someone that's had some transitioning from between TikTok and the YouTubes?
Yeah, you'll see yourself use a lot of that same footage as you think you have to make that footage every time for every video. So for me, like, once I do a trailer breakdown, that footage I made from that every time I talk about that movie it's kind of that same footage over and over, and it saves you a lot of time. So, you know, you think it's weird to like save a video that you've created or whatnot. It's really smart to have it in a hard drive, or you could always, again, download it on YouTube. It's right there. So don't be afraid to reuse some of your B-roll footage, like John was saying.
Yeah, not much more to add. I kind of have a template for my videos where I have my intro, I have all of the extra stuff at the end, I do all the chopping up in the middle, and then it all just kind of gets compressed together. Something outside of editing that's a big tip that I've used, especially when I was doing a full-time job, 3 kids, wife, and YouTube, is batch record. If you get a Saturday afternoon, record your next 3-4 videos, and then you can just chip away at editing them whenever you get time.
I know you mentioned, Sean, on the panel yesterday, there are new things on the internet. Technology is changing. One thing I've found, and we actually talked about this, is AI. So if you want to generate video ideas, topics, you can go on these AI platforms and say, can you give me a topic about this, 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 and this? And that could generate ideas. I know I've been doing that recently, you get those moments where you're like, I don't know what the next video is going to be. And those have, and you've talked about it too, Sean, on Twitter, those have actually become really helpful. So new technology, always changing. That's a brand new thing. I found it to be really, really helpful.
Skynet's going to destroy the world soon enough, but hey, ride that wave until we all die.
Until we die, yeah.
I hope it happens soon. But for me, I think my biggest bottleneck was editing itself, like you, but I grown to hate it. It's the bane of my existence. So what I started doing is live streaming. No edits, no cuts. You get on, one take, you're in, you're out. And that to me is the most therapeutic thing I've discovered on YouTube since I've started. So maybe try that out to make life easier.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Are you guys going to fight over that one?
No,
Maybe this will be the one that gets a fight to break out. Yes,
try.
Spencer, what's your name and what do you got for us?
I'll try. My name is Mark. Nice to meet you guys.
hi, Mark.
Nice to meet you.
As someone who loves movies and has entire life, watching you guys has inspired me even to try and do like a movie review, Mark's just saying or something like that. But when you first started, how did you get to the point where you are now to where you don't feel discouraged? Or what did you find? How do you find what works and stick with it? Like, what feedback could you provide someone who's trying to find that groove to not necessarily achieve, but just to find some success to where people are enjoying you, enjoying the content, and you're not just feeling like you're wasting your time?
We want to start with that one?
The big one for me, like, it's going to sound cliche, but learning to be myself. Because my first collection of videos, I feel like I was trying to be the YouTube that I watched. I was trying to say things the way that I heard them. I was trying to make videos the way that I experienced them. And over that first year, the more that I just kind of let myself be the drive, be the star. I mean, even just my channel name being my name is not an accident. Once I got that, that's where it really started to be where I was comfortable. I wasn't discouraged. I wasn't looking back at old videos and cringing because I'm like, that's not me. I don't say things that way. That was my big transition.
So I think some of it, there's no simple answer because everyone's different. Everyone's wired different. It's a lot of at-bats. It's a lot of tries. It's a lot of experimenting to figure out what works for you. I can't say, just do this one thing because we're all different. And I don't know what your idea is. So it always just takes a long time. I put up my first movie webpage in 1998. I went full-time 20 years later. There's a lot of failures. There's a lot of stuff that didn't work in the process. And I just learned each little bit. And that can be incredibly discouraging to say, hey, yeah, if you're failing, wait 20 years, maybe it'll work. The flip side, if you've been failing a long time, but always thinking like, I think I have something to offer, you probably do. It just takes time. If you guys have something.
Well, yeah, go ahead.
I think you covered it.
Yeah. I think everybody's journey is different, right? And as long as you have that, it's such a cliche thing to say, but as long as you have the passion, do things that you love to do. Don't do them because you're like, oh, I want to replicate what that guy's doing because he's found success. If you do that and you don't love it, then it's not for you. But as long as you love what you're doing, I think that translates sometimes. And people watching your videos, they will see that and they'll be able to feel that. And so as long as you're doing what you are just so passionate about, I think a lot of the times, if you've been doing it and you're going to continue to grow, then that will come across on screen for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
All right, thank you.
You want one of us to have the last
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Colin, what's your name, Colin? What? They've cut you off.
I know. I guess they don't want to. Oh,
There he is.
How's it going?
I think it was picking up like noise in the room or something. Did anyone else feel like the building was about to collapse about a minute ago? There's some rumbling in the air.
Yeah.
But yes, Colin, what's your name
What's
and
up?
what's your question?
Colin, nice to meet you guys all today.
Nice
hey,
to
how's
meet
it
you for
going?
the first time ever.
man.
I know. How's it going? I actually wrote my question down so I don't mess this up. 'cause
Excellent.
It's a lengthy one, right? Do you guys think you'll see? I'll read that again. Do you think we will start to see a shift for big blockbuster movies and how they're made? I look at something like Dune, The Batman, and even John Wick 4, massive movies that seem to have like an artistic flair and actual authorship to them. It seems people have less of patience for generic movies these days, considering like Cody, I know you weren't a big fan of Shazam, Fury of the Gods. I can understand that perspective. So I'm just your thoughts on all that and how blockbuster movies need to have more of a authorship and artistic flair to them, and not just blockbuster the movie.
Who wants to
Yeah,
pick
like
that one
it was crazy with Shazam because like right now comic book movies you think rule the box office, and we just had Scream 6 beat out the opening weekend of a comic book movie, and like that is insane. But that also just goes to show you well, like audiences kind of want something different. I think we have 10 superhero movies lined up, following the same the beats and whatnot, and a lot of franchises just had record-breaking openings. John Wick 4 was the biggest for its franchise. Scream 6 was the biggest for it. And then Top Gun Maverick was the biggest movie. Avatar 2, it's like you're starting to see people pivot away from that. So, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, talking about Top Gun Maverick, I think that's a return to form. We need to go back to the basics of what made movies great and keep it simple. And Top Gun Maverick is proof. I mean, that's what saved the box office, in my opinion. And I would like to go back to something pure and unadulterated. I just want to see Tom Cruise in a fighter jet blowing shit up. I mean, I'll keep it honest with you.
Agree there.
But I mean, to that point, even the movies you listed there, Top Gun Maverick, they invented tech so that they could put actors in jets. John Wick 4, they threw Keanu Reeves down a flight of stairs 100 times. I mean, like they were hitting people with cars. Like it wasn't just, all right, let's put a bunch of people in front of a green screen and put CGI around them so it feels like a video game cutscene. Like they really put their heart and soul into it. During the plane ride over here, I was listening to an audio book on the making of Mad Max Fury Road. And it's that same exact passion of like, they went out into a desert and they're like, we got like a big rig and we'll put a pole on top of it. And we'll put Tom Hardy on top of it and we'll like rock him back and forth. Like, what? You're going to put the star of your movie on a stick on top? What are you talking about? But that's hard to do. It takes time and effort. And putting someone in front of a green screen, that's pretty easy. Yeah. And so I think even the ones that you listed, they're starting to rise up. And hopefully Hollywood's going to pay attention and be like, we can't just keep doing these same exact weird, big spectacle CGI things. Like they did Black Widow, and it's mostly like this grounded spy film. And then you get to the last 10 minutes, and she's like riding on top of debris that's falling. And you're like, what am I watching right now? This was a grounded spy movie. And now people are like falling from planes and they're fine. Like sword fighting while falling from like, what are you doing? And that stuff like, or, you know, I really enjoyed a lot about Shang-Chi. It's a martial arts movie. And as soon as they start doing the martial arts, it cuts to CGI martial arts. They're like spinning on outside of a bus and like, you found your unique thing. It was right there. You did it. And then you did the CGI thing again. And I compared to the movie Nobody that came out right around the same window of time. Bob Odenkirk, 60-year-old man, spent 2 years learning to fight, fought a bunch of guys on a bus. That was a lot more exciting to me than CGI Marvel fight on a bus.
Yeah.
You know, it's talked for a long time.
Well, no, even tweaking the minor things, right? We watched Dungeons and Dragons together, and I thought
that was nice.
It was really fun. I had a good time. But I thought it was going to be the most generic, like, oh, it's another Shazam, it's another Ant-Man, but they tweaked something. It was self-aware, and that's something that's a little fresh and new compared to some of the blockbusters right now. And even that very minute detail, that made the movie better. So you had some of that generic stuff in there, but it was a very self-aware movie. So even something as minor as that, I think, can make a very generic blockbuster just a little bit better.
Yeah.
You guys, anything you want to add over there?
No.
Did you guys want to duke it out over this?
No, not yet.
You guys want to fight?
We'll find the question.
Yeah, we'll fight.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Colin. What was your name again?
Colin, I don't know if you heard.
There it is. Now I know your name.
Oh, man.
I may have met him before.
Hey guys,
Hello.
Hey.
What's your name?
What's up?
I'm Michael Telesco. I'm also an internet troll, but unlike real internet trolls, I'm actually here in person to talk some smack.
Oh, let's do it.
Nice.
Let's do it.
So we'll find out if this is nice. Go for it.
Let me make this quick though, because I have to get going. Sorry. All right. I hear a lot of praise for John Wick 4. Just to put it out there, I don't know. Forgive me. I haven't seen your stuff. I've seen yours. I'm here to debate and settle debate once and for all that it wasn't the best movie that most people have been praising. So that's what I'm here for.
All right.
Really? Do you have a count, like a specific
rebuttal?
reason? Like why?
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
And spoiler alert, cover your ears, children. Okay. Anyway, at the end of John Wick 4, after 3 movies, including this one, that's 4, he did all this action. He took on armies of people. He gets taken out by a blind guy. That's my rebuttal.
But that blind guy was Donnie fucking Yin.
Yes,
All
you're right. But at the end of the day,
Yeah.
I don't care how good you are.
He felt the force once again from Rogue One, man.
Well, you know what? That explains it all. Thank you, guys. That's all I got.
See you later. Thank you. That's good. I like that.
All right. Apparently, if you drop a mic that has a switch on it, you can hit your switch. But it's crazy awesome action. That's what matters most. That's Donnie Yen. Yeah. Donnie Yen is awesome.
Donnie Yen, man.
Yeah, man.
Hello, Toxic Gamer 33. Is that your birth name?
Oh no, I just came up with it. Yes, my name's Toxic Gamer 331, and well, I'm actually Lucas.
Can't
All right,
hear you.
yeah, if you can talk louder, it's a very, very loud room. There
Okay.
you go. Perfect.
Yeah, like I said, my name's Toxic Gamer 331 on YouTube, and I'm also Lucas. So how did you guys end up saying, "Oh, I'm gonna do reviews of movies for your YouTube channel full time and start to do YouTube"?
I was driving around. I had a construction job where I had to go sometimes 5-6 hour drives throughout Monday through Friday. I was listening to a lot of podcasts like Collider Live, Schmoes Know, Double Toasted, all of that. And I found myself yelling at the radio because I wanted to be part of the conversation.
Same.
And so I made myself part of the conversation, basically. Went into a walk-in closet, made my own podcast, started doing YouTube. 6 years later, here I am.
I was watching this guy over here, and I went, if he can make videos, I can make videos. And so I started. That's my whole story.
No, best
It's not
advice.
terribly different. It's pretty close enough. I was watching him, other people like him, people from Movie Talk, like Perry over there. And I went, hey, I'd like to try that.
Yeah, I was just a lonely dude in my parents' basement. I had no friends, clearly.
Me neither.
And I was like, I'll talk to a video camera instead. And a few people watched it, and that's the start.
Yeah, the best motivation is find a job you hate.
Yeah.
Because if you're sitting at 8 hours a day in a job you despise, it'll force you to want to do something you love. And so that's where I was at. My job before YouTube was a call center where I'd call people every day and say, you didn't pay your $2,000 fine or whatever on an apartment, and argue with them for 8 hours. I was drained. I was mad. I was like, what's the worst that can happen if I get on YouTube? I'll get like 5 views, and it worked out for me. So honestly, like doing something you hate will push you to do something you love.
And I think one of the key ones is we all just loved movies. Like
Yeah.
we're movie nerds.
Oh, yeah.
So we were people that went to the internet to hear other people's thoughts. And so it's just a continuation of that.
Thank you.
Hey,
Thank you,
Sean, we
guys.
actually have a question from YouTube.
Yes.
Oh.
First question from the YouTube. What do we got?
We have a gentleman that is asking, do you think practical effects or CGI is better in horror movies?
Oh, my God.
And horror movies
Specified horror?
No,
All right.
just all
Specifically
horror.
horror, there is no replacing practical effects.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Is anybody a fan of The Thing?
Yeah.
That's the
The
best.
2000.
I need more hands.
It's the
But yeah,
best.
The Thing is like the Bible for me as far as
Yeah.
practical effects. And whenever I see a horror film, like Terrifier 2, perfect example. When you see the effort that goes into things that are practical and things like The Thing that came out 30, 40 years ago that still look awesome today, how many CGI shots can you think of that are 2 weeks old that look terrible now?
Yeah.
And I mean, there's
And
no
nothing
comparison.
makes me more mad than CGI blood.
Oh,
When
yeah.
you get a knife hit and then that skirt, like it's really that hard to just put some actual red liquid. Like
Mhm.
that makes me mad. So practical all the way.
And I think with practical effects, when you're seeing something that's a real thing, it's just so much more unsettling. You can always tell you're looking at cartoon dead body or whatever.
Mhm.
It's just you can figure it out, or a cartoon creature. And so many of those 80s effects just like they weird me out. Like I'm grossed out by them, and that makes me uncomfortable.
We saw Terrifier 2 together at a premiere at Fantastic Fest, and there is a kill scene in this movie that goes on for like 15 minutes straight.
What was that you ordered?
It was like street corn popcorn.
And so we're eating like popcorn, but it's slimy and it has a weird texture. And so it has just like kind of a weird vibe to it. And it gets to this kill scene.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh.
After about the first 8 minutes, like I'm focused on it, and then I start to feel in my peripherals. I look over at Sean, and he's like, I just can't watch anymore.
And I have passed out multiple times in my life from seeing blood and things like that, different things. I passed out one time from hearing a guy tell a story in a sermon. He was talking about a neck injury, and I was like, uh-oh, this isn't good, and passed out in the lap of the guy next to me. And we're watching this 15-minute long, ultra brutal kill while eating slimy, weird food. But it was practical. Awesome. That movie cost what, $250,000. So it's all practical, and so it's so unsettling.
Well, I think there's a reason why 80s horror, 80s action, they hold up so well, because you can go back and watch this and say, oh, that looks real. And I think they've actually started to move back into practical. There was a 10-year span where I was like, oh, CGI, green screen, that's cool. But now it's like, no, this looks better. So we're starting to see that make a comeback, and I think that's for a reason, because it does look better.
All right.
Sounds good.
Yes, young man.
Hi.
I think you can bend that down towards your face.
Yeah. First of all, I love all of you and your YouTube. Can I just? Whoa. That's
There you go.
Okay. I love all of you guys. I watch you guys all the time. And this could start an argument. I'm being serious.
Excellent. Perfect.
What's your guilty pleasure movie that most people hate but you adore it?
Guilty pleasure movie. All righty. Who wants to go first?
I'd like to step in.
Who's going? Go ahead. No, John, you talk.
All right, sorry.
Shout out the last one, so you're up.
Well, sorry, young man, you might be too young, but if you could go back to 1987 and to discover a little classic called Over the Top. It's a Sylvester Stallone movie.
That one.
It's one of the best arm wrestling movies ever made, if not the only arm wrestling movie ever made, where a trucker arm wrestles for custody of his son. I think you should watch it at some point in your life. It'll define you as a man and who you will be in life. That's it. That's all I have to say.
Who want to go next?
Go, Cody.
All right, I got two quick answers. So number one, again, going back to the 80s, there is a movie, I believe, from 86. It's a metal horror movie called Trick or Treat. If you're not a metal fan, everything about the movie is going to go way over your head. It's corny, it's ridiculous, but it's awesome. The other one that is absolutely guilty as hell of a pleasure is M. Night Shyamalan's The Happening. If you watch it with the intention of wanting to laugh, it's one of the best comedies ever made.
I have so many. I grew up with the Scooby-Doo movies in the early 2000s, and I watched those. I watched those, and I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Is it?
Written by James Gunn.
James Gunn. I don't know if it's awesome.
Scrappy Doo was a bad guy.
Scrappy. Yeah, I love those things growing up, right? But I go with the more recent one. Last year, Bullet Train, which I really enjoyed, got horrible. Thank you. Got horrible reviews. That one guy.
And you overstated. It didn't get horrible.
Yeah, but I know so many people that said that's the sloppiest action movie I've seen. A lot. Yeah. I'm glad you don't agree with that, because I thought it was a really fun movie. And sometimes you get those, and it's like, if you love a movie, you love a movie. You know, is it guilty, or is it just I love it because I love it?
Yeah. For me, pretty much any late 80s, 90s martial arts film, I'm so on board. Like, what do I watch when I'm going to bed every night? I go to Tubi, and I just look up the most obscure, random martial arts film. I bought in the last 3 weeks or so a copy of Only the Strong. It's the Mark Dacascos' big first starring vehicle. It's the Hollywood capoeira film where this guy learns capoeira in Brazil, moves back, and it's like Stand and Deliver with this guy trying to motivate the troubled youths in this community. And in this community, the gang just happens to be led by another guy that knows capoeira. And so they're dance fighting the entire film. If it was up to me, I would give it the Oscar for best movie of all time. But not everyone loves very ridiculous martial arts films like I do.
Probably no one will agree with me. I really like Space Jam: A New Legacy. I am. Oh yes, thank you. I'm just big Looney Tunes fan, man, and I miss the days where they had that 2D animation, the characters, and that Brendan Fraser one back in action. I love that one as well. And I'm not gonna lie, and Space Jam: A New Legacy, there's a scene where like Bugs Bunny's dying, and he's like talking to the tunes, how much he loves them, and he's glad he could play basketball one more time. I probably was the only one actually tearing up at that because of how much I love Bugs Bunny. So that's mine.
Thank you much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good job.
You're up. What's your name?
Sam,
What do you got for us?
what is your biggest hot take of all of cinema?
Biggest
Oh, I'll
hot
start. I got
take
one.
in all of cinema. This feels like an opportunity for a fist fight.
I got one.
Who wants
Okay.
to go first?
Okay. I love him as an actor. I respect the director as well. Christian Bale's Batman is not a good Batman.
Shut your
mouth! He's a great Bruce Wayne. Christian Bale is an amazing actor. I just can't get behind his Batman. I can't get behind Christopher Nolan's fight scenes. He does great character work with the villains, but I'm not a big fan of his Batman movies, man.
The fight scenes, I'll give you that one. They're his choices for how he did the fights in all three movies, questionable at best.
That's my hot take.
Robert Englund is not the only person that can play Freddy
yeah.
Krueger.
I agree.
Oh wow.
I agree. Think of it this way: how many Jokers have we had, and how many unique approaches they've taken to Joker?
Yes.
There's something you can do with that with Freddy Krueger. You
Mm-hmm.
can be Freddy jokey like Robert Englund in a different flavor, the same way
They
you can
gotta have a good
different
script.
Jokers.
They gotta have a good actor.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that have to work. But
Robert,
we
yeah.
can
What
get
was the
another
last guy? Jack O'Haley? He was
one.
done dirty.
It wasn't his fault.
Who would you guys pick for a Freddy replacement?
Chris.
Oh, me?
I want somebody unknown. I want somebody like
Yeah.
what Robert Englund was
That's
in
better.
1984. The only name that I've heard that's fairly well known that I liked is the guy from Justified. What is his name? Walton Goggins.
Oh.
Walton
Nicolas
Goggins.
Cage.
Yes.
Hot movie takes.
I mean, it's just me when I don't like movies that everybody else likes, like The Mist. Everybody loves The Mist. I think The Mist is terrible. Martin Scorsese's Mean
Didn't
Streets.
feel like it had a happy ending.
Oh, I hated it.
Brutal ending. Of all
Yeah,
time.
it made me sad.
Punch you in the gut.
Yeah.
And then 3 more times it punches you in the gut.
And then Martin Scorsese's Mean Streets. I personally, it's one of my favorite directors of all time. I think it's one of the most overrated movies of all time. So yeah, it's just kind of those movies that you watch at maybe a later age than you should, and you're like, I don't get why people love those, but I'm okay with people loving those.
Yeah, well, since we're at MegaCon, I'll go with the comic book route. I would say I enjoy Captain America: The First Avenger more than the first Iron Man. I know I'm alone.
I
with that.
agree.
I enjoy it. He's kicking.
I like
I
that.
love the first
He's beating
Avenger.
Red Skull up. It's good
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Now tell them your Puss in Boots hot take.
Yeah. Why do you hate Puss in Boots:
Watch
The Last
Puss in
Wish?
Was a man in his mid-30s watching a CGI cat I'm like a green ogre. I can accept that. I can justify that. But the cat and the boots, man, I don't know. I just can't do it anymore.
It's so
You don't
good.
go-
He refuses to
But
watch Puss in
again,
Boots too.
Then
It's
again, I just
it's a
watched Toy Story
masterpiece.
3 times yesterday. So who am I to judge? I don't know.
Fascinating. All right. I've never had a hot take. People always agree with me, so we can move on.
Yep.
Based off my channel, I did not like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Oh yeah.
And every time I rewatch it, I like it less and less every single time.
Wow.
Is that a less than Jake shirt? That's incredible. Awesome. But yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, the magic wasn't there. The humor felt forced. I didn't like the way the story was structured. And it just had some really off-putting elements to me that were dark in a way that wasn't interesting.
You didn't like when Yondu turned into Mary Poppins?
I like that moment.
Okay, fair.
The part where they like casually are like, yeah, we've killed off tens of thousands of Star-Lord siblings, and they kind of shrug that off like that. Like it's a piece of information, but not something where you pause and go, oh yikes, that's so disturbing, because it immediately goes David Hasselhoff, and it just cuts away immediately from letting you soak in how horrific what they just said was, or what just happened was.
Okay, cool.
There you go.
Good
So
question.
Sam,
Yes.
thanks so much for
Good
coming
question. Yeah.
out. What's your name and what do you got for us?
Hello, my name's Journey. I just want to say, like,
I didn't even know this was happening. I'm a huge fan of you, Flick.
Thank you.
I've watched you for
man.
years, so I didn't even know you were gonna be here.
Thank you.
So hi, and then
Hello.
huge fan of you. It's 3C, right?
Yes.
Huge,
I thought
huge
you were a
fan.
huge fan. That's okay, man. I get called C3. What is C3PO? Whatever that. I get C3 all the time, so it's fine.
But yeah, huge fan. I love you guys. Watch you all the time. So I have one recommendation for you, Flick.
Okay.
And then 2 questions. So my one question is celebrity crushes. What's
Patrick Swayze and I don't know. That's a weird question to put me on the spot for, man.
Oh, celebrity crushes?
Elsa from Tangled. I don't know.
Nice. Wait a minute.
What? What?
Elsa's a different one.
What do you mean?
It's Frozen.
Oh, who
And
cares?
she's underage.
Oh my god.
While you think about that, did you have one for us?
Chris, while your girlfriend sits 20 feet
I
away,
know,
please
right?
inform us of your answer.
What do you got for us?
Okay. Okay. Haley Steinfeld for sure. That's a big one. And then Ryan Gosling, man. His Ken's going to be awesome.
I think that Chris Hemsworth is a safe bet. What a gorgeous specimen of a human. But I'll go back to the crushes from when I was not married and back in the 90s. Alyssa Milano and Drew Barrymore.
Ooh, good choices.
I don't know if my wife is watching, but please don't change the locks on me. I will be home in a couple of days. But ever since I saw Salma Hayek and From Dusk Till Dawn, thank you. Louder.
Okay.
I love you, honey.
Can I add
you.
one? Can I redeem myself? Sorry.
Is it
Thinking
another
back on it,
underage?
that answer is really weird. But that's okay. I'm going to go with Sharon Stone and Basic Instinct. Watching that on VHS as a 5-year-old blew my mind. Yeah.
A lot of pause buttons were used.
Okay.
Hey, Sean.
Skip that one.
I grew up with Wizards of Waverly Place. Selena Gomez. I was like, I love
Team
you, honey.
Selena.
Are you watching? All right, she's not. Oh, yeah, Selena Gomez, man. She was kind of my crush growing up. Pretty cool.
That's when you do Q&A live, you never know what you're going to get. Did you say you had a second question?
Yeah. My other thing was, are you guys doing pictures or autographs?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll be
afterwards.
right here as soon as this is over with. So
Okay.
it'll start in about 10 minutes. We'll all be right over there.
And then the final request, it's for you too if you want. I feel like you wouldn't like the movie for some reason.
Okay.
But have you guys seen The Color of Magic?
The Color of Magic? Is that
Yes.
what
I
you said?
feel
No,
like you
have not.
didn't. Okay.
No.
I would love for both of you, go home, watch it. It is the best movie you will ever watch in your life, I promise.
Okay.
And I would love
Oh.
to see a review.
All right.
Fair
I
enough.
I'll
swear
do
on my
it.
life. The Color of Magic.
Color of Magic.
It's 2 parts. It's
Go.
about, I think, 6 hours long.
Oh,
Fair
geez.
enough.
Yes.
Demanding.
All right.
Do it. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Next
Good job.
question is
Sean.
coming from
This-
Chuck on the sidelines
this
from
is
the live
actually-
stream.
I just want to say you got a super chat from Sean Sheridan. Said, "Well done to all of you guys on this panel."
Hell yeah, Sean.
Oh.
Thank you.
Woo, thank you.
It's nice.
We do have a question. Wakanda Forever is like my number 26 or 27. Okay, that's fine. That's not a question. Come back to me.
You're up.
All right.
Can you
how
tilt the
guys
mic
doing?
up? Tilt it back up there. Thank you.
Is this good?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Man.
Real quick question: with actors appearing in the news, like Ezra Miller and more currently Jonathan Majors, does that ever affect you guys' movie review of their work?
It is definitely weird, especially someone like me who talks movie news, and it's like the obvious elephant in the room because it's just like a major news situation that happened. But at the same time, I mean, my parents raised me to be a certain way. I don't want to be profiting off someone saying their alleged domestic abuse charges. What's going to happen? Also, don't forget to subscribe, guys. Like that, that just feels so wrong of me to do. But it's also something you might have to address because then it affects the movie side of things. With Ezra Miller, it got to a point where there was so much happening. It's like you got to talk about it. But yes, it does, and it's a sticky situation. I try to not profit off doing all that, but there are points you have to talk about it.
Yeah, so last night we were talking, and Austin said that this Jonathan Majors story makes him feel like Kang is a real visceral villain in real life. So it just adds.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's tough because none of us know any of these people. We don't know what really happened. Like him, we're not looking to tabloid exploitation. We just want to talk about movies, and the world is a complicated place where when you see a headline, people assume people are guilty, people assume they're innocent, and it's tough. Like you think how excited we were 2 years ago when Michael Keaton's coming back as Batman.
Yeah.
Then last year happened. Every freaking weird headline you can imagine surrounding Ezra Miller, so much that you forgot, oh yeah, Michael Keaton's coming back 30 years later, and that's tough. Like having to separate the art from the artist, keeping in mind thousands of people worked on those movies.
Yeah.
It's not just one person, and that's tough where you got all sorts of people, they won't watch movies because the one person, they don't want to support them, but that means you're also not supporting all of the good people that worked on it. It's tough.
I think it comes down to the degree of severity of what you're dealing with. Sometimes I can separate it, and I try my best to when I'm watching a movie because, like you said, so many people are working. But then there are other cases where it's just so, it's almost like you can't ignore it. So you have that uncomfortable feeling, even watching the movie, having that uncomfortable feeling. So it's a hard line to ride, but it really all depends on the person. Can you separate it or can you not? And that's a hard thing to do. It is.
That's it.
Anything else to add on that one?
Not really.
All right, Sean, we actually have a super chat question from the Disney nerd.
Oh, yes, the Disney nerd.
I
know the Disney nerd. Thank you so much, man.
Does 2D animation have a chance of making a comeback after the praise for Into the Spider-Verse, Puss in Boots, The Last Wish, etc.?
So does 2D animation have a chance of making a comeback? I would say absolutely. I think whatever is interesting animation has a chance of coming back. Like as soon as you see these movies where you watch it and you go, that's interesting again. Because we've now had 20 years of kind of the same 3D models, adaptations of them. And as soon as you see something like watching Puss in Boots, The Last Wish, and it certainly there's all kinds of computer animation in there, but it's designed to look 2D at times. So it has the hand personality of a hand drawn, but the technology of CGI. And it has like a watercolor thing to it. Like it looks cool. It looks interesting. So I think anytime someone can find a way to make animated films stand out, yes. And it's been so long since we've had 2D animation as a regular thing, you miss it. If you grew up on 2D animation, you miss it. And it has so much personality because it's someone doing this, not someone doing this. And I absolutely think it can make a comeback. John, you're big into animation. You love to go opening weekend as like by yourself into a theater full of children. What do you think about this one?
That was a creepy setup.
Yeah, I'll elaborate on that now. That's mildly true. Yeah, no, for me, like I'd much rather watch the 2D of Lion King than the live action remake any day. And I think sometimes I have nieces and nephews, and I find them more drawn to the classic Aladdin film from '92 than they are the new Pixar movie, whatever just came out.
Yeah. So, yeah. Well, we talked about practical effects making a comeback after all of those years. I think that could absolutely happen with 2D animation. You go back and watch a Studio Ghibli film, and it's still stunning to this day. And I think we're going to go so long with these CGI movies. We're going to start to get back to that at some point. I don't know when, but it will inevitably come back, and hopefully will be appreciated.
And I don't think it'll be a takeover. It's not like 2D will replace CGI.
Yeah.
It's no. But a revival of
marriage.
oh yeah, we really like the personality of hand-drawn animation. Did you guys have anything you want to add on that? No,
not really.
All right, we got just a couple minutes left. So,
hey guys, nice to meet you. What's up? This question is going to be more appreciated from Chris, but it's for all of you. What's your favorite scary movie and why?
Let's just go down the line. Chris, what do you got for us?
I Scream would be a big one, but it's a cliche one to say. But for me, Nightmare on Elm Street 3. I really love Nightmare on Elm Street 3. It was like the perfect balance of a funny Freddy, the colorfulness, Wes Craven coming back. They really had fun with the dream sequences, giving them powers. There was characters you liked. So it's Nightmare on Elm Street 3 for me.
The two I always go to is John Carpenter's The Thing and The Lost Boys. The Lost Boys is one of those movies. It's like the perfect 80s cool, and it never ages. And then The Thing, like I said earlier, that's like the practical effects Bible. It's perfect horror film.
Human Centipede, really the whole trilogy. Watch it with the kids every weekend. Just that's really my cup of tea. Make cheesecakes for Scream. Scream's my go-to. The original one came out when I was like a freshman in high school. That was, hey, there's a Scream shirt right there. That was my era. There's another one right there. That was my era of horror film slashers, right as I was being able to go see him in the theater, that Kevin Williamson era. So those were my formative ones. And I just feel like it's been a consistent franchise throughout the years as well. It's like a bad Scream movie is still very entertaining and fun.
Mine is John Carpenter's The Thing for obvious reasons, but I'll also give a shout out to Hereditary. I like some artistic slow burn horror that kind of sticks with you while you're watching, and it's not all about the jump scares. So I think that's different. Oh God, I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'll go with the first Nightmare on Elm Street. I remember discovering it, a VHS copy in my grandparents' basement. And it was just so raw and gritty and visceral and made me afraid to go to sleep, and it still does.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
No, thank you.
All righty. I think that will do it for our. They're just walking by. Okay. Yeah, I think that'll do it for our time here answering your questions. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.
Thank you.
We're going to be right here, literally starting in 2 minutes. We'll be right over there, answer your questions, talk with you, take pictures, all of that fun stuff. Truly, thank you so much for coming out. It means the world to all of us that you care enough about what we have to say about anything to sit here and hear us talk. Come out and see us. Truly, thank you. And keep talking movies too much.
Bye-bye.
See you over there.
How do we close on your catchphrase?
Use yours?
Mine's not family friendly.
Oh,
all right,
good call.
Orlando. The guys are going to be back tomorrow at 1 o'clock right here on the Creator Stage talking about becoming an online film critic. So we're going to have some amazing fun